This is northern Nigeria. Northern Nigeria covers an area of 350,669 square miles, with a population of 211 million people, influenced by the culture of over 100 ethnic groups, with several ancient kingdoms that date as far back as the 9th century. The region is well known for its ornamental architecture, rich musical traditions, and lush, fertile plains with picturesque hills and plateaus. Thank you for joining us for the third episode of Sounds of Nollywood. In the previous episodes, we visited with some amazing art practitioners from Western and Eastern regions of Nigeria to understand the regional development of broadcast media. In this episode, we will discuss the development of broadcasting in the northern region of Nigeria, starting with our first guest, who is a writer, broadcaster, and administrator. He is Peter Ego, a pioneer of television and film who grew up in the northern region and played an amazingly important role in the birth of television there.
In 1975, Sokoto decided to open their own television station. I had left university in 1972. I had been posted to Northwest State. I wrote a dance drama using music from that particular area, the Nupe music, the Nupes. And I used Nupe music and dance as a dance drama to tell the story that I'm sure they would all love. The state government also wanted to set up their television station. So it was now a choice to remain with culture or to go to television. In the end, I wanted television because growing up in the cinemas in Jos, I always wanted to be part of that experience. So I decided to go to television. So I was one of the pioneer members of NTV Sokoto.
By the early 90s, Nigeria had over 34 TV stations, growing at a rate of 1.5 stations per year. Some of the hit television shows at the time included Things Fall Apart, an adaptation of the popular novel by Chinua Achebe. The Village Headmaster was Nigeria's longest-running television soap opera that aired from 1968 to 1988. Cockcrow at Dawn and The Bala Miller Show were both set in northern Nigeria and were produced and directed by Peter Igbo.
These are the great music pyramids from Africa, and ready to be swinging. And I'm sure with what we've got in stock for you tonight, wonderful dances, wonderful songs, great guest artists. On behalf of you wonderful dears, I'd like to say to all of you, happy viewing today for you and you and you and you and you and you. Everybody, everybody, everybody. And they came out, they came out, they came, they came, they came, they came, they may game. Everybody, in a jide, Kagudu, Ati Reno, Ati Papa, everybody, everybody.
We asked Peter how he got to direct and produce Cockcrow at Dawn, the most popular dramatic series of the 1980s.
Obasanjo, the president, then came up with Operation Feed the Nation as an agricultural program to promote agriculture. And the NTA then decided that to support government endeavors, we should also do a drama series on agriculture to help promote government's endeavor. And because I was the producer of the winning entry in the NTA competition, I was now brought from Sokoto to Lagos to come and put together this drama series. And that was Cockcrow at Dawn. The original concept is to promote agriculture. But I thought that if all agriculture was the only thing, it would not sell. So of course, I brought together 4 writers, sat down and briefed them, and we wove in dramatic forms, characters that we knew would touch the hearts of Nigerians. That's why we chose Bello, a man with a wife and 2 children, a boy and a girl, son who was rascally and was all over the place creating problems. The daughter who herself was rascally and once almost got raped because she followed the sugar daddy to a hotel and all that. So we created so many problems. So it just sits down and asks, what am I doing in town? Why should I waste all the problems? Why don't I go back to my village and go and take up agriculture? And that's how come you now moved away from. And that's why you hear in Bongo Sequence, refrain always, will he ever get there? Will he ever make it? Will he ever hear the sound of the cockcrow at dawn? The cockcrow at dawn epitomizes the village life, where you woke up in the morning, you were woken up by the sound of the cockcrow, and everything was peaceful and serene and all that, against the holly-bolly and rough and tumble of the town.
Hear the birds sing in the morning. You can hear the water splashing down the hill, kind of roaring. You can see the sun going down, and the people as they go by without a frown. Hear the traffic never jams, don't cost much to buy some yams, and the neighbors say hello. You can't even hear the sound of the cockcrow at
dawn. I must be going now. Yeah.
When do I expect you back?
Oh, I don't know. About 2 or 3 days. But I must try and get the application process before I return.
So, Papa, please let me give you something for my brother.
All right.
It's nothing, but at least something.
All right. Beatrice, take good care of your mother while I'm away. I don't want any fighting. And don't play any tricks on your uncle. And look after the farm.
Don't worry, Papa. Everything will be all right.
All right. And remember, if you have any problem, go straight to my friend Becky. Do you understand me?
Yes, Papa.
Please give this to him. And
all
get
right.
it for me.
Okay. Yeah, we're going.
Balari, are you traveling?
Robo, yes, I have to go to the town.
I hope not, you know.
No, nothing at all. Just a few things I want to straighten out about my farm.
Oh, safe journey.
Thank you.
Peter, what were the challenges with such an involved weekly production?
This cinema, I keep going back to my cinema background, growing up in the cinema and seeing all that, and I knew it was possible. And I wanted to make sure to let people know it was possible. I shot 78 episodes. I shot the first 13 on film. And because it became so expensive, sending the rushes to London, going to London to edit and then coming back. And also because after the 13th episode, at that time, they had come up with these lighter, smaller cameras, which were now available for video cameras, not the humongous ones in the studio. I shot altogether 78 episodes. And I was promoted and made the general manager, this time in charge of all network programs. So I was moved to Lagos now as the general manager in charge of network programs. I came from very, very humble background. And in fact, when I was getting the doctorate degree award, I made people cry in the hall because I told them that while I was on the university I attended, called me to honor me. And when they told me to advise the students, I stood there trying to talk and I couldn't talk because as I sat there, I remembered how many times I came to that stage in the university theater as I hadn't eaten for days. And I was squatting with a friend, sleeping on the floor in his room. I was going from hotel to hotel, buying materials on credit, going to sell to prostitutes in their hotels and all that. So I remembered all that. And I said, and I remembered growing up, even in primary school. My father far away in his mining camp, and my mother here, no food in the house. We come back from school and you see her walking out of the house looking very fat. And then she comes back later with food and she's looking slimmer. And what you then realize is that she had taken her wrappers to go and sell, and she didn't want us to know she was going to sell them and come back to buy food. So coming back from all that background and all that, it's worth the effort to be good. It's worth the effort to put in your best. It's worth the effort to sacrifice. It's worth the effort to live your dream and work hard for it, not just be. I tell people, if you come into this industry because of the glamour, you're in the wrong place. Because this industry requires hard work, and that's why there's the difference between the good and the best.
For many Nigerians who grew up in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, Bollywood movies were a staple of the cinemas. The dance scenes, colorful cultural attires, and romantic comedies made these movies very popular, especially in northern Nigeria. Let's meet Amisha Daryani Ahuja, who is of Indian heritage and grew up in Nigeria through the late 90s and early 2000s, and is the producer and director of the first Nollywood-Bollywood movie collaboration titled Namaste Wahala, which loosely translates to Hello Trouble. The film tells a story of interracial couples' dilemma when faced with disapproval from both sets of parents.
This is Raj, my cousin, and he's an investment banker.
And he's single.
And this is Didi. She's a sweetheart. She's a lawyer.
And she's very, very single.
If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. I'm going to marry you.
Excuse me?
Amisha Daryani Ahuja, executive producer and director of Namaste Wahala. It's been a roller coaster ride. Ups, downs, but really, really wonderful and really, really educational. So we've had some Nigerian cast as well as some Indian cast, and they're phenomenal. Every one of them. I'm blown away by the talent. And yeah, each one has their own methods, but I think they're all wonderful.
So that's why I thought, why not make a movie that fuses the two cultures? Because of course, Nollywood's amazing. And as you mentioned, it's trending, it's growing, it's an amazing market to be in. And yeah, so in 2019, I decided I'm going to try my first attempt to make a Bollywood-Nollywood fusion movie. And that's how you got Namaste Wahala.
Didi, listen, you think it's easy to find who wants to buy what you're selling? You better brace up. You're lucky.
I had this idea in my head, and it was definitely going to be akin to the 90s Bollywood. You know, the mushy, I don't know if you remember back in the day, the dancing around trees, you know, eyes meeting across and saying, oh, we love each other. So a little bit cheesy, which is what I got in terms of reviews. It's a bit of a cheesy movie, but I wanted to do that just because it was meant to be a happy, feel-good movie. So I knew those were the situations. I knew that I wanted the male to be Indian and I wanted the female to be Nigerian. Main reason behind that also was because Nollywood was my target. Nigeria, Africa. That was actually where I thought it was going to go. I had no idea it was going to go worldwide and become an original. It was really, it took a life of its own without us knowing. But I wanted the protagonist to be a woman. You know, I was targeting women. I definitely wanted the message of female empowerment in there. So as much as I was doing the old-fashioned 90s Bollywood, it was important for me for the woman to be the main character. You know, she was, despite the fact that she danced around trees, she also was a lawyer that was defending women, and we were sending a message to the world.
Do that.
Oh, yes, you can. You're my daughter.
And you didn't teach me to walk away from doing the right thing.
Do you really think being Nigerian or Indian is going to affect your son's happiness?
I also went there to get costumes and, I mean, you know, like the whole wedding attire and decoration and things. So while I was there, I also met them live and they were so excited.
Sometime and I'll charm my way into his heart. Just like I did yours.
Oh, that's so cool!
So I'd already kind of explained, we kind of, you know, told them what it was like, the industry. Nollywood on this side, my whole crew was Nigerian, except one. I brought an assistant director in, and then I did my entire post-production in India. I wanted to make sure it was as 50-50 as possible, because it's as important behind the scenes as in front of the scenes, you know, to have that equilibrium. And so while I was in India, they were very excited. So once they flew down, it was literally like, I mean, of course, there was so much fun. There was a lot of excitement. There was also a lot of drama because there's clashes, as you know. But what was so nice to see is how similar we all are. And I love saying that about this, that the movie was all about the differences between Nigeria and India and you know, the Nigerian culture and the Indian culture. But really, at the end of the day, what I wanted to sort of show, and I hope it showed through the movie, is actually we're so similar. Even with the chemistry on board, if you look at the two mothers, you have the Indian mother and the Nigerian mother. So there's Auntie J, that's Ajoke Silva, and then Sujata Sehgal, both very strong women. And to see them on camera together, I don't know if you've seen that scene where they have a fight. And that was one of my favorite scenes to direct, because it was, you know, I was like, guys, you gotta make sure that you each take each other on, because at no given point did I want any culture to look better or worse than the other. And that was how amazing it came out, because if you saw how they were defending themselves, it actually came as how similar they were, because at the end of the premise was they were so protective over their children. And that's what makes us so similar, right? Because of the culture, and they wanted their kids to be happy, so they were fighting for that. So that was beautiful. And it was so organic. The other major scene that I find people are still watching and laughing at is between the taxi driver and the mother-in-law.
Yes, I'm in Nigeria. I've reached. No, this is madness. No means no. मैं kitchen में जा रही हूँ तुम्हारी जलेबियाँ निकालने. If you know Brother Shaggy, he's a famous comedian in Nigeria. So we had so much fun because in this case, I wanted it to be Hindi, which Brother Shaggy wouldn't understand. And Brother Shaggy speak Pidgin, which Sujata doesn't understand. So we did a lot of practice, and I played translator. So I would tell Brother Shaggy, you know what, this is what she's saying, now react. And then he would be, we were laughing the whole time behind the scenes.
What were the similarities between Nollywood and Bollywood production styles?
Where I saw the similarities was the 90s, which is one way to kind of pull off. Both loved the loud BGM, both loved the, you know, the antics, the comedy, the music, you know, the passion. And that is what we did here as well. And that is where I'm singing from. Because again, a lot of the actors on set, I call him Oga RMD, like Uncle RMD. He is infatuated by Amitabh Bachchan. So I saw that. And I remember before even having the script down, I knew I wanted Amitabh Bachchan, the Nigerian Amitabh Bachchan for this movie. He had to be the father. So it was like, whatever it takes, we want Oga RMD on it. You know, we had Indian Nigerian music, and Nigerians are amazing dancers, so are Indians. So it was really fun to have them each try. Like we had Bhangra, and then like the shaking, and it was really like a lot of it was organic, and a lot of it was on set and fun. So the actors would teach each other their steps, and we would just go with it.
Crew, talent. The crew here are so passionate, so talented, so hardworking. Attention to detail is on another level.
What is it like to be Indian Nigerian, and how were you received by Nollywood?
Even when I've grown up, people have asked me, where are you from? And I don't know what to say. I usually say I'm Indian and I live in Nigeria. But now in this current generation, we're mankind, like we're from the world. And to be very honest, both, I associate both because I grew up as an Indian in a Nigerian household. So you're right. I think that it's a completely different demographic because India is not home for me. Like I visited, I think I go to India once in like 5 years. My grandma lives there, but I moved to Nigeria when I was 1 year old. I was born in India and I moved there. So it's what I know, it's home. So I actually, to be very honest, when I was on set, I was more relating to Nollywood and Nigerian actors and all, like, because my Hindi is also not amazing. So it's interesting how most people did say, okay, you're from the Bollywood side. And I'm like, actually, you're right. It's a completely new demographic. The movie was in English. So I was translating Pidgin, translating Hindi, and translating it's all one big jumble. But today, what I do with that is I just feel like there shouldn't be a segregation. It's a global industry, and that's what I'm so excited about with what's happening with Nigeria, with the industry, that it doesn't matter anymore. I mean, if you look at Squid Games in Korea, it's completely a Korean show that you can watch dubbed, you can watch, sort of subtitled, but we're learning about the local culture. So I don't really associate with one or the other. It's a new niche. And what I really want to do is a lot more cross-culture, a lot more diversity, a lot more having fun with what happens when two cultures get together. Aren't we all just the same, and trying to prove that. Stories coming out of Nigeria and Africa are fantastic. So it's like I said, so many countries are being represented in all the, like Amazon and Netflix and all of that. I really appreciate that because it's authentic. And we can learn so much from each other. But what you will also realize is a love story is a love story. And when you watch it, whether you watch in America, I was just watching Pretty Woman the other day, and it just brought back all that nostalgia. It's no different from an Indian love story or a Nigerian love story. It's just we depict it differently. That's all. So.
You can't just go to your in-laws' house just like that. Let them know you are one of us. Blend in.
You let me walk right into the lion's den. You should have at least prepped them.
Here is Inedima Okoji. She plays the love interest on Namaste Wahala, and she is a rising favorite leading lady of Nollywood. We spoke to her about her experience making Namaste Wahala.
Funny thing with, there's a bit of a story there. Initially, when I was approached by, the production team, I didn't meet Hamisha until much later. I was giving the sides for the friend, Angie. So I go for the audition. And on the day, while I've learned my lines, I'm ready to audition for Angie, yeah, someone comes out from production team and goes, they want you to read this character. And I check, and then it's a character called Didi. I'm like, really? And for me, like, no matter how many years I've been in this game, like auditions, I'm a wreck. I'm a nervous wreck. No matter how prepared I am, I always have to pray to God that I'm able to channel my anxiety to the right way. So I'm like, what? So I hate cold reads. Like, I like to have been prepared at least. So giving me on the spot, I was so freaked out. I'm like, okay, sure. And then I read it and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, this is who I want. I want to play Didi. I'm like, God, I want to play Didi. No, I didn't hear anything for a while. And then I remember hearing back from the production team, that they wanted to cast me for Namaste Wahala. I was like, oh my goodness. And then Hamisha, so I get a text from a foreign number, and she introduced herself as Hamisha. She was the EP/director for Namaste Wahala. She really wanted to talk to me. And I got on the call, and oh my goodness, we were in such sync in terms of what I thought the character needed. Like, because I had notes. Every time I read a script, I always have notes and questions. And she was like, oh my goodness, this is exactly, like, you understand the vision. And I'm like, yes, so it was such an amazing call. And, this girl was supposed, she defied her father. Like, she's someone who fights for what she believes in. And she goes at it headstrong, win or lose. And, it was just such an inspiring character to play. And the whole concept of the entire show was just mind-boggling to me, because I just learned so much. It was just so brilliant to infuse two cultures. And again, the biggest thing I learned was, as human beings, we focus so much on the things that divide us. If we take a step back, we realize that we are so similar. I could not believe the similarities between the Indian culture and the Nigerian culture. It's actually insane, and just unity. And it was such an inspiring set to be on. And I even drew for Didi. I drew a lot from Hamisha, because this was her first time producing anything in the film industry. And she was going at it with so much, of just everything she had to give. She was so brave about it. And even how we ended up being on Netflix, it was such a crazy journey. So it was the first time director. It was the first time DP. The DP had only DP'd for music videos, had never done anything film. It was the first for a Nollywood-Bollywood collaboration. So it was just a set of so many firsts. And for me, I'm just like, I would give it everything I have, and then we put the rest to the universe to decide what happens.
Our next guest takes us to Kano, the major city in the center of northern Nigeria. Kano is a strongly cosmopolitan Islamic state, and this is where you meet hip-hop, R&B, and also Afrobeat artist, songwriter, and singer Abdul Karim Idris.
For almost 30 years, I have this dream. In my dream, there's this golden microphone. It keeps swinging left and right, burning. Anytime it tries to get to me, I could feel the heat. So all the time when I wake up, I tell my mom that, listen, this is my dream. This is what I'm saying in my dream. This is what I'm saying in my dream, and all that. So she prayed about it, and she said to me that the microphone is freedom.
Republic of suffering and smiling. #1 capital for poverty. Got our independent 1960. Most corrupt and bad leadership. No human rights, no justice.
Approximately about 27 years ago, in the ancient city of Kano. I've been in Kano, living with my mom, and schooled in Kano, my elementary, secondary school, all in Kano State, my university in Kano State. And music found me actually. During my school days, my high school days, I went to a military school, Bukavu Barak, somewhere around Janguza in Kano. So one of those days, I went to the Soldiers Club, and we had the opportunity to watch talented youth. So I was like, wow, this is beautiful. The microphone, rapping. So I got so interested, and I quickly made relationship with this youth in school. Don't forget, I was a table tennis player. I represented Kano State. So I've been in the limelight for a very young age, but it wasn't about the limelight. It was, for me, it was about the call.
Make sure that you stand for something. If not, you will stand for nothing. So listen, man, we are going to the Express now. Stay peacefully.
It was about the call, because every moment, every time, the microphone is expression. The microphone is the truth. But it depends on how you use it. So at that age, I was approximately about 15 years old. So I thought to myself that I think the best thing to do is to start writing my own songs. Is start to write my own rap. Is start to write my own stories. Is start to write about my environment. Is start to talk about what is happening around me. This is what I want to do. This is my call. This is where I should be. This is where I should be. I want to express myself. I want to talk the story of my mom. I want to talk the story of polygamy. I want to talk the story of love. I want to talk the evil behind polygamy. I want to talk I want to talk about everything. I was so eager. So I was given opportunity one of these days to perform. Then I was invited on stage. And for the first time, I experienced the politics behind the microphone. When I got on stage, I was about to start performing and the microphone went off. There was a plan between Dr. Fresh, the artist, and the DJ. So at early stage, I learned the politics. So I said, okay, no problem. Next time when I was coming, I came with my DJ. So I had the opportunity for the second time to go on stage. And it was beautiful.
Your first song release was in 2001. So how did you go from representing Kano in table tennis championship competition to rap music in an Islamic state?
My style of rap is like this guy in America, Twista. I rap very fast. I do a lot of tongue twisting, you know. I got the jack when I check how fake. I got my main 10-10. Do. You give me some foo-foo. When I floor this funky music, people dance a juju. My man, he want him more fair. Baby, do me, he want him more fair. The unlet the anabi back again back. I can kick this flavor. I'm sure you I'm the baba. The took of the song, the smack of the fuck of the chocolate, the like, the go with the second, the people that look at the make the toast. It was crazy, man. I wrote this about 27 years ago. After the event, I knew at that moment that this was my call. So I started fasting and prayer, asking God to lead me through, to tell me what he wants me to do with the microphone. Because I remember that in my dream, that microphone that I see all the time is a message. It has a reason. So I don't want to misuse it. And the next thing was, wait a minute, Kano. Kano is an Islamic state that does not truly support music. So when I was done with school, I went straight to Lagos. So I dropped my first album, which was PA.S, Pain, Stress, and Success. You know, there are songs like Okwasheo, there are songs like Come Back Home. Also have songs like Mafish Mishkila and a couple of them. 6 months later, I dropped another album, which was Mr. Lecturer.
I don't give a damn if you feel me. Hello class, how you doing? Good morning. My name Nassar, all I am your lot today. I'll be taking you, sociology and history. Any question, don't hesitate to ask me. Wait a minute, girl. Hey you girl, stand up, tell me what's your name.
My name is Bimbo, oh yeah me.
What you say, you say?
To whom much is given, much is expected. I recorded Nigeria Jaga Jaga. Immediately I recorded the song, I dropped the song. It was a single. 10 days later, the president was in Germany with his vice president and a couple of governors. They went to seek for foreign investors. And while they were in an event, the ambassador, Switzerland ambassador, who was hosting them in Geneva, presented Nigeria Jaga Jaga, and the DJ played it. And they were playing. They were dancing. They didn't know. While they were dancing, Obasanjo was the one dancing with his agbada. So all of a sudden, one of his aides now touched him and said, "Oga, you didn't hear what the song is saying. The song is saying that Nigeria Jaga Jaga, everything scatter, scatter. 4 man they suffer, suffer. Bossa, bossa. Gunshot in the air.
Jaga, hey. Everything scatter, scatter, hey. 4 man see they suffer, suffer, hey. Gunshot in the air. No more police brutality. Everything jaga, jaga, hey. 4 man see they suffer, suffer, hey. Gunshot in the air.
The president got angry immediately. He felt the event was a setup. He came back to Nigeria with all his governors. He called on all the media houses. Thank you, God. I'm very grateful that the president talked back at me. My message has been delivered. I'm grateful. Thank you, God. My message has been delivered.
Idris continues the tradition like Fela Kuti of Nigerian musicians advocating for change through music. And this brings us to the end of episode 3 of Sounds of Nollywood. I am Georges Collinet.